but even like animals can sense this. Like they can literally like I can be coming home from work and I'm literally having the worst day ever, and my cat will just come up to me and he'll just rub his face against mine. He'll cuddle with me, and that's literally what helps me get back up again.
And like they know that the pets know that like pet snuggles is like it like basically helps with the feeling of loneliness and isolation. So like they know that getting close to you is gonna like automatically make you feel better. In a way.
They also 100% know when you need space.
Yep. Like, they will. Yep.
If I'm like not in the fucking mood and I tell my dog that I'm not in the fucking mood, they know to walk away. Like they're just like, all right, see it. Like my dog will come up on me and I'll be eating food or something. I don't want you in my face when I'm eating food. And I'll just, all I gotta say is go, and they'll walk away. And, like they know. I think a big thing with my animals is they're driven by both fear and love, because there's a deep comprehension of you shit on my floor, I'm finna spank your ass. but they also know the other side of it, where you act and you behave and you're good and you're rewarded with not just cuddles and love, but going to the park or whatever it may be and spending that time with your animal.
Yeah, that physical activity that really helps a lot, like getting outside, absorbing sunlight, like all of that stuff is beneficial.
So many people don't get exercise at it. That's actually one big thing I was reading, because I've been going through a lot of shit and doing a lot of research to figure out like how can I climb out of this slump that I'm in. And one of the biggest things, they said the number one thing pretty much anyone can recommend to someone suffering from depression is exercise.
Oh yeah, definitely. It releases all the chemicals that you need to like help you feel better.
And so having a dog specifically, not so much like a cat or like another type of animal, but a dog can actually go exercise with you. You know what I mean? So it actually, my cat actually, I can go on a walk and my cat will fucking follow me everywhere I walk. So.
Oh my god, yeah.
That's pretty cool. We have a cat at the Prairie. I work at a rehab facility, and her name's Betty. And she's just like a dog. Like she lives outside. And my first day of work, it was really crazy. I walk up to this cat because I'm like, oh, cat. You know, I love animals. And she lays on her back and wants me to rub her belly. That was the first time I've ever met a cat that wanted me to rub her tummy. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, my cat's a little weirdo. He does that. We literally just got a kitten, and he's like,
my cat does the same exact thing.
So, dude, he's so
that's nuts, dude. I have never had a cat that liked their stomach rubbed. I was like, you're like a dog.
The first cat I've ever had that let me rub his stomach. I'm like, that's weird. It's really weird, but I love it. I love every second of it.
In a way as well. I know I showed you The Angry Therapist. I was listening to one of his episodes, and it kind of made me realize this effect that animals have on us as well. Is this concept that basically, the way he put it is how to deal with people on a day-to-day basis and understand people better, is that each person is a creature. And so essentially understanding animals actually helps us to understand each other.
Yes, they teach us patience, empathy, confidence, and like so much more than that. Like you have to like, I mean, there's a lot of things that go into being a pet owner, and like you're right, it can literally teach you how to like handle different people because they have their own personalities too. So
right, and like unconditional love. You know, I think a big part of that is basically. The way he was talking about it is you walk into a bar and you look at people a certain way, and humans tend to have this tendency that like you're a human and you're a human, so you're both gonna act human, right?
Yeah.
And you're gonna have this same similar construct of how you act. But he's like, instead of walking in and looking at people like that, walk in and pretend you're in the Star Wars cantina. And this guy is a fucking...
That's easy for me.
He has an octopus head. He's like basically like Josh might be a fucking cat and Stu might be a dog. And the difference in how a cat and a dog act and treat and want to be treated is a huge thing. So it's like the concept is human beings are creatures. We're all like incredibly different from each other. And if we don't view each other that way, we're never going to be able to understand one another the way we need to.
That's a cool way to look at it. I like that. I like that a lot.
Because everybody thinks that we're all the same, we all live the same, and no, we don't. We all have different aspects of our life that we do differently. Like,
well, and that also like, plays into the type of animals that you get and you relate to the most. So, like, there are dog and there are cat people.
Yeah, I'm a dog. I'm a dog person. I love all animals, but I love me. I love my dogs.
Right.
My dog, not dogs.
Some people like birds. Some people like lizards. Some people like fish.
Gianna's an amphibian girl.
Right, exactly. and the difference in how those animals play into your mental health and your reality. Hold on, I'm going to read some chat before we move forward.
Oh, yeah, yes, chat.
Yes, animals make such a big difference in mental health. My pug is so good at reading my energy. I love him so much. Senpai says, I have 4 cats. They're legit my lifesavers. And
that's what's up.
Lauren says, Koa will walk over and lay on my chest or just look up at me and snuggle me because he knows. Naomi says, I have 2 feral animals, in parentheses, my kids. But my dog helps me so much. And Senpai says, my cat, Juniper, legit was going to be put down. She'd been there the longest as a black cat with a messed up eye. She legit jumped into my arms, went at the pound when we came to look at her, and she's been the best cat ever. That's a hard
awesome
thing to go through.
I got JC here too, and she said, I cannot express how much my cats and dogs have helped me when I was going through super dark times. But they both passed on, and it's still taking me some time to get over them not being there to comfort me. But even having the dog's collar or the cat ashes can help her get through a terrible day that she's having. It's the mementos of the time that you had with those animals that get you.
That's actually doing some research. That was one of the non-beneficial things that they were trying to point out was like a lot of people when it came to like animals help with like depression and anxiety and all those things, but like there was also this like underlying of like when they lose the animal, like that can actually really mess them up. And it's like, man,
because their lifespans are so much shorter.
Yeah,
exactly. And like when I lost my first dog, like that one wrecked me like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like even like my dad still has the ashes, and obviously like I can still go over and see the dog if I wanted to, but it's not the same. But I still think of her all the time. She's beautiful, but she's still there in my memories.
Yeah, she made an impact on you. That's a good thing. It's just like losing a family member. You just got to remember them for who they were, you know.
Yeah, grief has stages, and being able to take those stages in a healthy way is important. I think one of the biggest ways that helps me when going through stages like that is getting a tattoo.
Oh yeah, so it's like a release, like not only like because of the pain and everything else, but then you have that like memento.
They're always a part of you,
yeah. That's cool. I like that.
Another. How's it going to just slip out of my brain? I already knew where I was going next. I literally knew exactly where I was going next.
I saw you have a map, too.
Actually, they also say that pets are very good for dealing with loss.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
so
they help you cope.
The story behind my dog, Fry. She's the first dog I've owned that was mine. The other dogs that I lost and everything were my family dogs.
Yeah.
And I love them very much. They were a big part of my life. But Fry is the first dog that I've ever owned that's mine. And in high school, or right out of high school, one of my best friends who really brought me out of suicide and everything, and brought me into a new light and into a new life, and really helped me to move forward. His name was Kevin, and he had committed suicide. And
oh man,
we had planned to he wanted to get a Dalmatian, and I wanted to get an English Bulldog, and they're going to be named Fumbles and Fry. And so I named her Fry because of him, but I actually got her like 2 days after he had committed suicide.
Oh, wow.
Throughout that entire process of grieving and having to understand my part in his suicide and everything in between, very, very deep, dark part of my life. If I didn't have my dog and didn't spend the time with my dog that I did, I probably wouldn't even be here. I think a big part of that is also, it's not just the comfort she provided, but also the responsibility she provided to me.
Yes.
Like how much she relied on me. The need for her to eat and drink was on me, and the need for her to go to the bathroom was on me, and the need for her entire life depended on me. And it gave me this sense of purpose that I needed to be able to move forward in my day to day. And I believe she's carried over a lot of his energy as well. His spirit animal was a butterfly, and at one point, I've done drugs before. Everyone, okay? It's a thing. I was tripping on acid, and I was playing with my dog in a sandbox, and she has a birthmark on her head, little white spot, and it formed into a butterfly. And it was
like flew off her head. It's like, whoa.
I wish, but yeah, essentially it was like, I know that she carries some of his energy. She may not carry his soul, but I know for a fact that there's a part of him in that existence. Like, he wanted me to have her, and that was
totally
a big part of me being able to move forward through my depression and the things that I was going through, as far as the struggle that I had been going through. And I think that for most people that are going through depression or suicidal thoughts, animals are a really big part of that process in the fact that they need you. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are like, man, I'm worth this, and
totally.
Me. But at the end of the day, an animal needs you.
Yeah, it gives you that sense of worth. Like, exactly.
If you ever feel that way, just literally look at your animal. Look at them. Look at the way they look at you.
Yeah.
And literally that will cheer you up 100%. You don't even have to do anything. Just look at them and you'll be like, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
You're why I'm here.
And it's great because you always find that, like we said, that unconditional love. They literally look at you and you are their world. So
Exactly.
you can find comfort in that, especially for people who suffer from feeling like nobody cares about them. It's like, Well, one thing that I thought was interesting that I saw was fish were another high up there in the animal list of people that suffer from depression and anxiety because of just how calming it is to just sit there and watch them swim in a bowl. I thought that was really interesting. I've never thought of fish being a pet that could really help with that.
Well, fish are essentially meditation in an animal.
Yeah.
So
I just think it was really cool.
Thought span, goldfish have a 3-second memory. They eat and they swim, and that's about it. And so the concept.
What a life!
The concept of meditation is not thinking. It's not thinking about anything. It's just letting yourself be still and letting your mind be still, and that's exactly what fish do. So it can provide a complete vibe for people. I actually met a dude whose spirit animal was a starfish.
That's fucking cool.
It said a lot about him, and that was another portion of my existence with animals is animal totems and spirit animals, and how animals can communicate with you daily throughout your entire life. And so one of those big things that and you can literally just Google this anytime, but if you actually pay attention in your day-to-day to the animals that showed themselves to you in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So for instance, a big thing for me, I could be going on a hike and I could see bees, I could see a bat, I could see turtles, whatever animal might show itself. It's thought to have created a message in your life, in your day to day, and those.
That's interesting. I like that.
Carry that message. So most people don't dig into this shit, but I'm a fucking weirdo, so I dug deeper, and there's you'd be surprised how much those messages can help you. It's coming straight out of Native American culture, and this is how they view animals. That's most of their existence revolves around how animals affect their lives, and the messages that they believe that if a turtle carries a certain message, it's conveyed in the day that you see the turtle, and whatever you may be going through, that message directly correlates with what you're going through. And so
that's cool. I like that a lot.
It helps me regularly to pay attention to the animals that I see on a day-to-day.
It also promotes you being conscious of the world around you, which that in itself can help with your mental health. Just not focusing on your inner feelings and just focusing on all the beauty that's around you can be beneficial. That's I like that. Man, I like that. Where'd you pick that up? You just started diving into it on Google or something one day, or what?
Probably tripping on acid and just and so I started looking, because the first time I really started digging into the Native American culture and animals and everything was actually when I realized what my spirit animal was. And I'd been up at the skate park, and I was on 5 tabs, and I was just watching the ground fucking move, just sitting and just watching the ground move. And this big ass fucking swole black dude shows up to the skate park with a plaque that had Elvis Presley on it. And I'm a huge Elvis fan, so I was like, yeah, what the fuck? He was trying to sell it for $70. I was like, that's tight. That's literally like one of the best things I've ever seen. And one of my good friends who was tripping with me, he fucking, his spirit animal is a wolf, but he just traded him like an eighth of bud and gave it to me. Just gave me.
Oh, that's sick.
And it was probably 5-10 minutes later, I was just sitting down staring at the floor, and in my head there was just all these dots connecting. Like my mom's favorite animal was a moose, and how it's so hard to explain how it all connected, but as it all connected, I realized that my spirit animal was like my core, because everyone has multiple spirit animals. You have spirit totems, you have messenger totems, and you have spirit animals throughout your life that are going to teach you different things. But you also have like a core spirit animal, and that's like your main guide through life. That's like the main.
I want to know what mine is. Tell me what mine is.
So the only thing I can tell people as far as what one of yours is it's a very common thing that whatever your favorite animal it was when you were a little kid, that is one of your spirit animals. And that's a natural inclination. So like, it's funny because my daughter's favorite animal is a pig. When I was a little kid, my favorite animal was a penguin. So
oh yeah, that's a good one. I like that one.
Carried a lot
Penguins
of
are
messages
awesome.
with me, but with my moose, I was in a different realm of existence, obviously, being on LSD. And so I basically not only knew my moose, but I'd seen him and known his name, which is Denali. And I've never really talked to him or really tried to approach guidance with him, but I comprehend that he's there and exists over me, and will always be a deeper part of my existence. And you can actually go and do more research and find out, like, what does this mean if this is your spirit animal? And the moose says a lot of fucking shit about who I am. It was really crazy to really like acknowledge and read that existence in myself, because like there's a lot of facts about moose that people don't know. Like a moose, when they go fishing, they can go underwater for like 6 minutes, like fully engulfed, to catch fish.
What?
Big ass moose, yeah. And, like,
just the fact that you said a moose going fishing is already like, what?
you know.
And now you're saying that they can swim underwater for 6 minutes? That's insane. They got those big lungs, though. I believe it.
If you were gonna approach finding your spirit animal without doing illegal drugs, I think the best way to go about that process would be meditation, visualization, and just really taking. And it might take a long time for you to figure it out and really connect.
Would you consider the spirit animal thing kind of like a higher power situation? I work at a rehab facility. Don't worry, I'm not judging you, whatever. But like that's one of the things that we do with like helping people in recovery is like, you need to find that thing that's above you, that power that's higher than you yourself. And I like that's an interesting concept that I would like to bring to light to them. Be like, the spirit animal aspect, like like spirituality with like different religions and stuff is always a thing, but like the spirit animal concept hasn't really been discussed from what I've seen. Yeah, so I think that'd be cool.
Most people in rehab will push you towards Christianity and it is something that helps drug addicts.
I hate this.
But I think if you were to try to approach that with an addict, it would be really good because they'd start approaching meditation more. And you don't know what they're going to find, but the idea of what religion does or a higher power does for someone that is an addict is it provides a sense of comfort, and that comfort is what they need because they find comfort in whatever they're addicted to.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Something else to help them find comfort somewhere else that's not within whatever they've been chasing or whatever's been ruining their life. And so I've gone to rehab because of my arrest, and it was so fucking funny because my counselor let me off like 2 months early because she was literally like, you don't need rehab. She was like, you're literally fine. And I was because I've just had a grip on myself from the get-go of whatever I've done. And so thankfully I don't have addiction issues. I have a very strong, like I'm a very controlling person, so like it's very important for me to have control over myself. And
you got that willpower.
I would never let something else control my existence. Thankfully, because it's definitely in my genetics. Addiction is, and I guess I got lucky with who I am. which is also a big part of, you know, the moose being a spirit animal and providing that resilience and in my existence. And so I think for me as well, it provides a perspective on my uniqueness and how special I am, which is something that I have a hard time approaching, is my own self-confidence and everything. But like, I feel like you don't go through your day to day and meet other people who have a connection with like a moose. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's an interesting thing. Yeah.
When you hear a wolf, it's like, there's a lot, I'll tell you, there's a lot of people who fucking have connection to wolves. Right?
Yeah.
Like those generic, but like then you, and then when you meet people that have connections to other animals that are completely unique, like if you meet someone who has a connection to a koala, like my little brother, his favorite animal when he was a kid was a koala. So it just says something about who you are and your existence spiritually. And so like, I think the effect that, because these, like I said, we're going to go through branches. I think that animals play a part in our lives in so much more ways than we even comprehend.
Yeah,
most people
exactly.
Go, oh yeah, like a support dog or like service dogs and stuff like that. Like, yeah, that is a huge part. But when I hear people talk about mental health and animals, I never hear them approach the spiritual side of what animals can do. And I think for me, a big part of that was also like, and this is in my art, I tripped with Blake and had a very deep spirit. He's 100% one of my soulmates, and he's still with me every single day. But Blake's spirit animal
is a fox.
And that's why on my art, it's, you know, my moose and then a fox. And our connection was through music. And so off the guitar, there's a red chord. And
God, I love that artwork so much.
It plugs into the moose's heart.
I love that.
Is insane because, you know, I don't even like, I never really like approached it from the right. This is the first time I'm even realizing this part, that she made the chord red, because I was just watching a movie called Your Name, and the whole concept was about the red string of fate. And I'm a firm believer in fate. I'm a firm believer that you can't fight fate and that you're going to end up where you are, and that everything in the universe is lining up a pathway for you to take the journey that you're supposed to take as a human being. And so like, I definitely had a red string with Blake, and he was definitely supposed to be in my life and the impact that he had on my life. And so I think that, you know, knowing Kevin's spirit animal being a butterfly and then knowing Blake's being a fox also plays a big part in who they are and understanding who they were and the messages that they can portray for me as well. So,
dude, that's you said we weren't going deep, man. That was super deep. I love it.
Way deep.
I didn't say we weren't going deep. I said we're not going heavy, okay? Peyton says I always had a strong connection with the lambs since I was a child. That's actually
lambs,
a really cool one too. That's an interesting one to have and to carry.
So do you know, like, have you dove into that enough to know like what the different animals mean, like in a basis form, I guess? I'll
do research if I find someone and they know their spirit animal, or if I've because like with Blake, I knew his because I saw it in my trip, and with Kevin's, I knew his because I saw it in a trip as well and really felt it and understood its existence. And Kevin's, I didn't know until after he died, but I definitely did my research into what it meant at those times and have held those comprehensions with me. Like Kevin was a very free spirit, and you couldn't hold him down. You couldn't make him do anything that he didn't want to do. But somehow he always managed to find a way to show his side of beauty.
It really is.
And that was a really big part of him being a butterfly. And it was so, I feel like, because Kevin had such a fucking like weird sense of humor. He was very funny, and I feel like when I had got my butterfly tattoo, I didn't have like, all of this on my arm.
Yeah.
It was like one tattoo and then my butterfly tattoo, and I just got it, and then I had to go sit my time out in jail. And you know how many people asked me if I was gay in jail because I had I feel every time I was just like, Kevin's just literally fucking laughing at me right now for this shit.
Yeah, right? He's like,
like, got him. Because Kevin's like, he's so fucking. It's so funny because he changed his birthday on Facebook to April 1st, which is not his birthday, and so like consistently, it's been years after his death, and to this day, there's still like people who didn't know Kevin that'll like post on his birthday saying happy
And
birthday.
it's an
Like,
April
we
Fool's
care about
joke.
you, we miss you, happy birthday, like thinking it's his birthday. And the entire time it was just him fucking with people. And dude,
He's got his phone wherever
like
he's at.
left
Seriously,
it,
he's like,
that's who he was, just how he acted. So it was a very big part.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I mean, even these guys over here, like there's a reason that they pick animals to help with depression and like people coming back from the war and service dogs and having emotional therapy dogs too. Like these animals are used and trained in order to make you feel better in the certain situation that you're dealing with. Just like my friend has a fucking service pig. It's an emotional. It's a pig that is there for therapy. I'm like,
Did you
okay.
Did you just say a service pig?
Hey
Yeah.
man, pigs. I've
That's cool.
met some
Pigs
like miniature
literally-
pigs, and they're like better than dogs, dude. They're awesome.
They literally have the widest variety of emotion too. I would never have thought a pig could express so much emotions, but like the emotions that I see from this pig, I'm like, okay, go off, girl. Shit.
They're apparently really easy to train too, like because they're a lot smarter than I guess dogs. Like, yeah, I've played with some like little like miniature pigs, and they do the whole rubbing on the belly. They love all of that shit. Like,
I grew up on a farm, so like we had cows, we had horses, we had pigs, we had everything, and the cows were like my first connection that I ever had because I loved the cows. The cows were my favorite, and just knowing what was going to happen in the future, that upset me because you know it's going to happen eventually. Like you can't stop it, but
yeah,
you make it. Like even my family had connections with these animals, and they didn't want to, but they had to support the family. So, but yeah, like you obviously make connections with these animals for a reason, and you pick the animals that you want.
exactly. I know that horses are another big mental health and for helping people with addiction, all that stuff, just because of all of the things that are needed to take care of the horse. Like you grow with the horse, you have to train the horse, all of that stuff. I actually worked with a lady. She is a foster parent for girls that like, went through like everything from like sex trafficking, all that kind of stuff. She kind of takes them in and all that. Yeah. And that's what she uses. She uses horses to help with therapy. And I think that's really cool. Like it really helps them a lot. They like get to develop these like personal relationships with these big, giant animals that are so strong and everything else. And like, I think it's pretty cool. Like,
there's some of these animals that you wouldn't think that you would lean on, like a cow. Like you would never like think you could lean on a cow for emotional support, but like just going out into the field and working with those animals like that builds a connection with that animal, and they want to see you every day. Like it was a good feeling.
There is a joy whenever you have to be the one to feed the cows, and when you walk outside and they all run up to you because they think that you're bringing food, but it's like
That's
what you think, but they look at you every day and they're like, oh, there's my friend, oh my god, he's coming back.
For sure. What you thinking over there, Casual?
I think a lot of things.
He's trying to imagine being on a farm.
I literally I overthink everything, so it's like consistently just.
For sure, I know what you mean. To bring up again, like the thing with dogs and like sensing feelings. My wife, we have a little Chihuahua, long-haired Chihuahua. God, dude, it took me a month to get this dog to let me anywhere near her because she was there before me and my wife had gotten together. Like it literally took me a month of like sitting down and kind of inching my way a little closer to her, and she kind of be like, oh. Yeah. And then now she's basically my dog. Like she loves me more than she loves Ashley. But but yeah, there's this crazy thing that she does. Like my wife, she suffers from extreme depression and anxiety. She's also an alcoholic. She's 3 months sober, a little over 3 months sober now, and stuff like that. So just seeing how Scarlett is her name. She has like this crazy, like this awesome routine where she like does, and she does it every time whenever Ashley's like in like this state of freaking out. Like she'll start with like, kind of like licking her fingers to like test the waters and make sure that it's okay that she can be in her space. And then once she does that, like usually like she'll like make sure she gets up in her face and licks away her tears and like all this different stuff. And it's really beautiful to watch. Like she takes care of her. And I think that's like, I think it's really cool. And it just shows like that how animals, it's like they like instinctively know what to do. Like it's embedded in their DNA to know how to help someone that is struggling mentally. If that makes 100%. Sense.
I think it's so funny too, because like one of the biggest things that impacted me with my dog was there's so much to my dog story, but I used to take them to the dog park, and my dog, I've never met a dog afraid of water before my dog, but she did not fuck with water. She was not about it. And it took me basically, like, there was this bridge the park was fenced in, and there's a walkway around it, and part of the walkway was a bridge over the water. And so she'd follow, because she was so clingy to me, I'd go outside of the fence and she'd follow me all the way around. So once we got to the bridge, I'd walk across, and she'd get pissed off and bark at me and get scared because she didn't want to go across the water. Aww. After so much repetition, the first time, and like regardless of her fear, she was so afraid of the water, she would go across the water for me to stay next to me.
That's that love, dude.
Time. And so like I just kept making her do it, and now water's life for her. Like she's just she loves the shit out of it. And another big part of my dog was so when she was pregnant before I had Eden. Rachel was pregnant at the same time as Fry, and I was sitting out my time in jail for half a gram of weed.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's 60 days basically in county, and I didn't get to see her give birth to our dogs or to her puppies, but I had a dream when I was in jail that she would have, because she's a blue heeler, so it was a very weird thing to dream, because you wouldn't think that one of the dogs would look like it, but I had a dream that one of the dogs would be a long black-haired dog, and that it was going to be a boy, and his name was going to be Apollo, and that was going to be Eden's dog. It just happened. And so she had 10 puppies, and out of the 10, there was only one black-haired dog, long black-haired dog, and he was a boy, and he was fat.
What, dude? Yeah. That's crazy. Like predicting the future over here. When do I need to buy a lottery ticket? Just tell me now. Oh, wait, hold on. No, go to sleep and then call me tomorrow.
Yeah. That easy. But yeah, so Apollo's very it's so funny. He's so protective over Eden. And so is Fry. They'll like, Eden will go to bed, and sometimes they're like, I want to sleep in my room, but then it's a solid 80% of the time, and it's like they know, like they take shifts. So there's nights where Apollo will go make sure he's in Eden's bed, but then there's nights where Fry will instead of Apollo, and they like.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
They take turns.
Yeah.
Watching over her, and it's so funny to me because Eden's had this connection to animals since she was a baby because of all the animals people used to just call us the farmhouse, because we had 2 ferrets, 3 cats, 4 dogs, a big ass fish, and a guinea pig, and a bearded dragon. And as I think this has definitely been a big effect on Eden's mental health growing up, is dealing with the deaths of the animals and the tragedies that happened. One of our cats got hit by a car. One of our cats just straight disappeared because he's an outside cat and he wasn't fixed, and he lived his life doing whatever the fuck he wanted. And so I'm pretty sure he just found a bitch and decided to stay over there with whatever female cat he found. And,
for sure.
Our bearded dragon, when we moved, the people that were supposed to turn on our gas for our new house, they didn't turn it on, and we hit a cold front, and it got him sick and stressed out, and he was sick for probably a couple of weeks before he passed, and there was literally nothing we could do about it.
Yeah,
because the thing is like vet costs mean nothing to us because we have a family member that's a veterinarian, so like we're able to go up and pay off stuff as we're able to, and they
that's awesome.
They just do our shit for our animals. So which we have a dog named Mac, and we went to the puppy store, and we'd never go to the puppy store because I don't fuck with that place. I used to work there, and I know I fucking hate puppy mills and shit like that.
Animal shelter's where it's at.
But we were letting Eden pet one of the puppies, and lo and behold, they had a dog that looked just like Fry. So hit me. And we ended up buying him on the spot, just out of nowhere. And he's literally the dumbest fucking dog ever. But we love him, and he got parvo because of the puppy store.
Oh, dude!
I remember one day we really didn't think he was gonna make it, but I dropped like $1,200 on him going to the vet every day to get IV treatments and shit. And one day he was just out in the front yard because we were letting him go potty, and he went away from us to the corner of the yard. And when Rachel went over there, he literally like looked at Rachel like he knew he was gonna die, and it was like it was tragic. It was like the saddest thing because he's skin and bone, like sick. And
dude, it's crazy that you say that. Oh, I had a dog that had parvo, and it was the same thing. Like her name was Sansa. And she got her goodbyes from everybody. My brother lived with us at the time, and he was the last one to leave the house to go to work. And it was like she literally died where he petted her and said, "All right, I'm going to work. Bye, Sansa." She literally laid down right there and died. Like as soon as he drove off, like it was what we think, because she didn't move from that spot. It's like, fuck, dude.
Max survived though.
He did?
Yeah, he made it. He's here.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yeah, he made it. It was a very emotional time, but
fun fact: Scarlett, she had parvo too, and Ashley fed her chicken soup. I was like, they were like, "There's nothing we can do. Do you want us to put her down, or do you want to take her home to like have her until she passes?" And she was like, "I'm not letting this dog die." And so like that's like her first baby.
Yeah, we had it was one of my mom, like a dog that my dad got my mom for Mother's Day, and she was the runt of her litter, and she was a little wiener dog, so she was always tiny, always like basically always a baby, like with the baby skin and fur and everything. And when we lived in Arizona, she got bit by a brown recluse. And,
oh shit!
Yeah, so she ended up licking all down her back. All of her fur was gone because she'd licked it so much. She survived, and she had like a really long life. She's pretty old, but one day we were going to the airport to pick up my little brother, and we had left her in the backyard, and she was always on a tether because she'd get under the fence, and she tangled herself up out in the sun and got like sunburned and blistered, and then got and probably 3 or 4 days later passed away.
Oh no.
Like, there's a lot to what animals can teach you and the tragedies that you have to go through in them, and it also like teaches you a lot about how fragile life is. I think for Eden that's been a really big part because we've lost both of our ferrets and our bearded dragon and our cat, and she's seen all of that, and she also obviously saw Blake, and so she has she's about to be 7 this month, so for a 7-year-old, like her comprehension of death is so much deeper than what most little kids would see. Definitely had an effect on her.
Totally. Man, that's very dude. Man, I need to bring Annabelle over and they can play. They're literally like almost the same age.
Yeah.
Annabelle's birthday is in like, what is it? It's May. 2 months. Like that's awesome.
Eden's birthday is in 19 days.
Oh, you have to tell her happy birthday for me. But speaking of death with children, my wife, she has a really big family, and so there's a lot of death. Like she has an old family, I guess I should say, on both her mom and her dad's side. So like since Annabelle's been born, there's been like a lot of deaths in her family, and it's the same thing. Like she's for her age, she should not be like this used to like people passing away. Like it doesn't, like you would think that it would affect a child differently, I guess. But like she's dealt with it so much already, you know, and like in a way it's good. I would hope. You know, it's one of those things that like when she gets older, we'll be able to see how it's really affected her. Like, you know, because she's still becoming her own person and developing and things like that. And hopefully she, you know, if she takes after her mother with any of like her mental illnesses or anything, because that, you know, that's a thing. It can pass down. Like that's just something that's a bridge that we'll have to cross when it gets here. But yeah, I totally know what you mean about, you know, your kid like already having experienced so much.
Yeah. Like, when I was her age, I never experienced like
me neither.
My first death was when I was like 13 or 14 and my grandma died. And
same, like my dad passed away when I was 15 and that was like the first like huge death, I guess.
I remember putting down one of our family dogs, but other than that it wasn't you know, it wasn't the tragedy aspect of it, like, you know,
like the feeling of tragedy aspect wasn't there.
It's been a hard thing for everyone to comprehend, especially with Blake, because Blake was like the cool uncle. Like, he played a really big part in Eden's life. He was the one who roughhoused with her a lot and stuff, and so like like she talks about him all the time, and I think it's perfectly healthy for her to remember him and talk about him. And
yes, definitely. No, he shouldn't be forgotten.
So I think that throughout it all, though, like she's definitely grown from the experiences and has a deeper comprehension of how precious time is and how precious our time is on this earth, because like anyone can go at any time, and that's like a big play in like how she treats her animals daily too, because I watch her with our cat and our dogs. Most little kids don't get taught not to pull their hair and not and you'll see a little kid come up and like pull their hair and then get bit, and then they're like, you know, and it's like, growing up with animals, it's so funny because I have this my cousin, she's really young, her name's Marley, and she was so terrified of dogs her entire childhood, absolutely terrified, and she's a little bit older than Eden, and like I'm talking like we'd bring our toy poodle up there and she was afraid of our toy poodle.
Oh my goodness. Just because it was a dog.
Fear. And her mom allowed it. Her mom never, because she was a single mom, so she didn't have this grow a backbone type vibe. Like dads will be like, get over it. It's a dog, just pet it. You'll conquer your fear, right? It's like it's important to conquer that fear, whereas moms are like, not all moms, don't fucking attack me in chat. Not all moms, but most single moms, or like even moms in a marriage, will be like more protective over your fears. They have this natural inclination to want to protect you from being afraid. And
totally,
that's a really big. Everyone that's following me on Twitch, by the way, I appreciate you guys.
Yay, follows.
I don't have alerts on because we're doing the podcast, but I do appreciate you guys. But it's so funny because in the long run, they got their first dog, and she picked the dog out. She just one day randomly decided, I do want a dog, and they went to a shelter, and she picked the dog out. And you want to know what kind of dog it was?
What?
The biggest, beefiest pit bull that they could have. Straight
That's
up.
Awesome.
And his name is Jax, and he's a black and white dog. And they sent him to obedience school, and they had to train him with a shock collar because pit bulls are very alpha and very, some people, and for people to think that shock collars are abusive, you have no comprehension of how each breed needs to be trained. I actually have to train Mac with a shock collar, and it's because he has a fear of being spanked. And so like if I go to spank him, he'll pee on the floor. But if I give him the beep on the shock collar, he already knows that leads to a shock. So it's like the first day, I had to shock him a couple times, but then he started to realize, like, as soon as I hear that beep, if I don't want to get shocked, I need to chill. That's about it.
and then so it prevents any harm at all from happening.
Right. And then later on, I literally don't have to shock him. He doesn't even have to wear the collar because he knows how to heel and he knows how to follow me and everything in between.
Yeah.
So it helps a lot in those aspects as well. But I think that there's so much to learn. Like you were talking about horses, and I was talking about how learning how to experience and treat animals teaches you how to treat people. If you think about it from that perspective with the horses, horses are the type to be very not trustworthy. And by that I mean you have to earn a horse's trust to be able to ride the horse. You have to earn a horse's trust to be able to come up to it. And and when you do, they're the most gentle, loving creatures. But even if you've established that relationship the second you walk behind a horse, you are at risk of getting kicked.
Yeah, totally.
It's a huge thing. And that the thing is there's people in the world that are like that. That you'll earn that trust and you'll develop that trust, but then you'll turn around and the second you do something behind their back, you're getting fucking kicked.
I'm telling you right now, I learned that lesson the hard way when one of my cows had twins. I went in the pen to go pet the calves, and this bitch fucking ran me right up against the fence, and she said, "Get the fuck out of here."
Oh shit. Dude.
Yeah, no, never went there again.
The things that animals can teach you in your day to day, and this is because this is actually a really interesting one. I follow this guy on YouTube. His name is Chandler's Wildlife. And this dude lives and breathes for venomous snakes. And
cool.
You were showing me that.
That's what he's all about. And there's this video of him going up to India, and these king cobras would get out in the villages, and so they'd catch them, and they wouldn't kill them, but they'd keep them in a cage in an enclosure. And the thing is cobras don't live well in those enclosures.
Yeah.
So it's a whole video of him going in to this enclosure filled with king cobras and taking them out one by one while avoiding all the other ones and they're all pissed off and irritated with like skin issues and
their eyes like being all messed up.
And he's taking care of these animals that could just straight kill him, and all the while doing it you see this practice of him understanding the body language of these snakes, and like he knows when they're going to attack. He knows how to distract them so that he can grab them. Shit like that you would only know if you'd been spending that much time understanding the creature and understanding the animal. And I think that plays a big role in a perspective of how you can take that in your mental health and not only dedicate yourself to practicing the understanding of yourself and your tendencies and your existence as a creature, but also the people that you care about. Because like you said, you were talking about your wife and you were very comfortable talking about the struggle she's going through. And that's because you've taken the time to dedicate and understand those things. And also you were talking about how the dog approaches her slowly and makes sure it's okay to enter her space. And that shows how much you know as well about how you comfort her and how you enter her space and how you come up to her and help her through whatever she's going through. And it's just like, the thing is you can tell when you have a genuine human being or a genuine soul that cares about other people and other souls and other animals and other lives when you have someone like you, Josh, because I remember I called you and told you about Blake, and instantly you're like, okay, so when can I come down there? And you like barely knew him. You literally barely knew Blake. And you're like, okay, so like we need to I'm literally going to take the time out of my day, out of my work schedule to drive hours to come over and be with him one last time before he goes. Because you knew Blake was going to die. And you knew that was a huge part of your life. Already you were just like, what? Because you knew Blake from a perspective of when you meet Blake initially and how he acts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like he's a very outgoing, colorful individual that touches people without even trying. That's who Blake was. And to be able to have that genuine care for another human being is like a huge retrospect. Like that's what people like. If you want to approach mental health and you want to approach how you should treat yourself and treat others, you need to take that into consideration. How Josh went out of his way and took the time to go see someone who was dying that he'd only met like once or twice before. You know, that's such a big thing in life, that because time is such a valuable thing and a lot of people don't take it. And I can't tell you how many people knew Blake and didn't show up. So many people that I knew, best friends of Blake's, that didn't show up, that weren't there. And I can't tell you how much it meant when you guys showed up, because like it literally lit his face up. Like he was literally,
I know,
oh shit. Like,
he looked very happy. I was happy that I could, you know, spend time with him and make him feel comfortable and happy and wanted and all of those things. Because I mean, that matters. Like, yeah, it was a situation where like, yeah, I knew he was going to pass and everything and pass away. And I never want anyone to ever feel alone ever. And I felt almost honored that you had called and let me know in the first place. Like, it was just like one of those things. Like, there was no doubt in my mind. It was instantly like, I need to go see him. And my wife, she was like, go, dude, like, like, do it. Like, she saw like how passionate I was about it. And she was like super supportive. She wanted to come too, but you know, kids and everything.
It was a very sobering experience, to say the least, because, you know, watching your best friend not only face the fact that he's going to pass away, but also the amount of pain and suffering and the dysmorphia he probably had because of what his body looked like after going through all of the radiation, but then also what the sickness had done to him and his stomach and everything. It was like watching someone you loved go through torture that no one could control.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I know it not only helped him when you guys showed up, but for me, it was also like really helpful for my existence, having other people show up and actually care about what was going on. Because I know, like, if I were going through that situation and I were Blake, a lot of people think, oh, you just want to leave him alone. You just want him. He just needs to be alone in his room.
Yeah, it's kind of like the human's natural reaction. Like when we have a heart attack, we walk away from a crowd because it's like we want to like not burden people with our problems, I guess, internally. So like, yeah, I totally know what you mean there.
But for Blake, he was such a social person. He rode on other people existing in his life, and he cared so much about other people's lives without it. Like, on the surface, you don't see a lot, but then when you cut deeper and you comprehend us as humans, it's like most people in this world don't want to be alone. And I think one of the biggest fears I have is dying alone. Like the idea of dying alone just seems like scarier than anything else. I think that being with other people in that moment is a huge thing, and that's like a really big part of, like, because Blake was also an animal dude. He really liked he liked cats a lot. He was a little cat guy. And he also like loved, I have pictures of my dogs literally like piled on top of him because he'd come over and he just had this magnetic force that they would just cling to him. And I think that he was going through a lot of shit, and he's the type of person that will put away his shit to help other people through theirs. And I think that when he'd come to because he came to my house like every day. We were practicing music together every day. And so he'd come over and my animals would like pile on top of him, and you just see this like blatant joy on his face because of how much they like, because Fry's the type of dog where it doesn't matter if you're happy or sad or whatever you're feeling. If you walk in and you sit on the couch, she's gonna jump up on the couch next to you and she's gonna nuzzle her head right up here in your neck. And she's just gonna make
I love
like,
that.
She's just like, she just makes you feel like you're like she just wants you. And she's like, I just need your attention. It doesn't matter. And people like, she makes you feel special because like I'll come in and I'll see her cuddling someone, and this person will be like, your dog loves me.
Like, my dog loves everybody.
Like, I mean, feel good about it, you know.
That's awesome, dude. What kind of dog is Fry again?
She's a blue healer.
Blue healer. Yeah.
Here,
oh my god.
She's right here. Fry, come here. Come here.
Ah, hiding.
Come here.
Oh, look at her. That's so cute.
Oh, baby.
Come here, bitch.
I hit my cat first,
Come here,
but my
bitch.
cat's the one that-
Yes.
She's like, why'd you just wake me up?
So cute.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
I love dog snuggles. I don't know if y'all could see. I know on the stream like it's cut out. But did you see one of my cats walking by earlier?
I watched. I was gonna say something. I was like, I'll wait for the to finish.
Yeah,
I saw that little stroll by.
That's Emery. We found her. We were at the hospital for some reason, and we were walking back to our car. This is in Eagle Lake, Texas, and like I kept hearing this meow meow meow, like really high pitched, tiny. You could tell it was a kitten. And I'm like, there's a cat, and like there were people mowing and stuff, like in these big ass lawnmowers and in this tall grass, and I'm like, oh god, they're gonna run this baby cat over. Like I was like freaking out, and so we were like looking, and she was like actually like there was some grass that had grown over the like, you know how like it's the road and then there's like kind of like the concrete and then it goes into like, you know, grass or whatever. There was grass that was grown over that, and I guess curb is, yeah, it's like the curb. And she was hiding underneath. That's how small she was. She was like hiding underneath this grass that had grown over the curb. And like she was across the street. And so I started walking towards her, and she literally runs out of the grass and just runs and jumps into my arms. And I was like, yeah, we're taking her home. And now she doesn't want anything to do with me. She's my daughter's cat, like for sure.
You know, my cat knew I was talking about him, so he came out to get love. That's literally it.
The cute kitty. Well, I don't know her.
Cats are
We
so
also have
funny
another
because
cat
they're-
that we got from the animal shelter. Her name is Cecily, and she hates me. She loves Annabelle. Annabelle can pick her up and like literally like carry her with one arm, and she's just hanging there, you know, and lets her do it.
There's
Yeah, I'm
this-
talking about
Gianna
you.
wants it, so hold on. Gianna wants
I like
it.
look over and she's just looking at me like, what the fuck?
Rachel's aunt had this cat, and he's this really big like Bengal cat. Massive.
Oh yeah, dude, those cats are awesome.
His name was Renegade.
Oh, that fits so well.
He did not. He would not fuck with anyone. At like,
Really, he was just like,
If
nope.
you ever tried to pet him or anything, it was instantly he's going to scratch the fuck out of you. And
Oh shit.
I had this friend, and he was over there, and we were having a Halloween party, and he got drunk, and he just insisted. He's like, no, I'm gonna pet this cat. He went through like 6 scratches before he gave up.
Oh wow,
Like,
the cat was probably like, all right, I've hurt you enough. Like you've earned it.
no, till Puddle
Oh,
gave up. He gave up.
Oh,
petting the
shit.
cat. He was like, okay, yeah, he's not gonna let me in. You know, some animals they just exist. You know, they don't fuck with nobody.
What is that? He's cute.
That's my leopard gecko. Gianna literally loves my leopard geckos.
That's awesome.
Look at him now. This is Sunny. I have Sunny and Cher. Oh, see, look at, and he wants all of the love right now. Oh, my little baby.
I've
So
had like
he's so
snakes and
scared.
turtles. Reptiles is a different kind of love, but I mean it's still cuddles.
It's everything about owning a reptile, a spider, anything like that. Like these animals don't get the love that they need because people are afraid of. Like the first thing people think is fear when you see a lizard or a reptile, an amphibian, a spider. So they literally just look for the touch. They want the touch. They want the warmth. They want to know that they're being loved by something. And that's basically like the love languages that Casual talks about. Like literally, they want the touch. They want to be touched. They want to be held. They want to feel it. And that's literally what it is.
That's awesome. One of my ex bandmates from a band that I used to be in back in the day, he had like a 7-foot banana python, I think was what it was. She was huge, but she was a big cuddle bug. Like she would just wrap up and sit in your lap, and she was completely content with life. Like you could just, she weighed a shit ton, but yeah, she was really sweet. And I get what you mean, where it's like, yeah, they just want that touch. Like I know the whole thing where if they like spread out next to you, like if you lay down and they lay down next to you, it's them trying to measure to see if they can eat you or whatever. But I'm going to just assume that she just like cuddling. Cause like I would lay on the floor and she would just kind of like slither up and be like right next to me. Like she would kind of push her body up next to me. It's really sweet.
People say that all the time, and I'm like, you can't always think that way. You can't think that this animal is instantly going to eat you. Like, no, if you spend enough time with an animal, like it's not going to fucking eat you, unless you treat it like absolute shit. Then it will eat your face off. Don't put it there.
I think for me with spiders and snakes, because like I've had friends and ex-girlfriends that had like tarantulas and shit, and they're like, oh, they won't bite you, just hold them. I don't do it because I have like an extreme fear of them. So
arachnophobia or whatever.
Well, and my thing is like, even if they're not gonna bite someone normally, animals can feel your energies and can feel your fear. So for me, if I can't override that, I'm not gonna give this nervous energy to this animal and then expect it not to bite me. You know what I mean? Like,
totally.
So for me, I'm just like, I'm just not gonna. Especially, I could probably hold a snake, but a tarantula. Like,
oh my god, tarantulas! So
I'm a little bitch. I'm sorry.
No, dude, I'm right there with you. Like I can't do spiders.
They're about that gentle touch. Like you gotta make sure that you know what you're doing with them. You don't want to make any wrong movements because a lot of the times spiders react to the movement. So you gotta like palm flat, touch them.
Nope.
Yeah. No,
I'm all right.
I
just feel like I would. It's making me have anxiety already, but I feel like I would just get too anxious, and then my reaction would be, you know, like to smack it, and then I just killed someone's pet, and like, I would feel fucking terrible.
Fling it the fuck across the room. Hell no. Which is so funny because, like, coming from the other background of thing with bugs, one big thing that I'd gotten into with, and this is such an amazing hobby. If anyone ever has been thinking about it, do it. It's so good for the earth. It's so good for everything around us, and our existence depends on them. I got into beekeeping, and
yes,
very like in the time that I did it, I never got stung because of my bee suit, but comprehending their behavior and stuff was also a very different, because a lot of bees just die while you're beekeeping. You might smush them on accident because it's really hard to have. For me, especially when I'm trying to do that with the gloves and the suit on.
Oh yeah,
hard to be completely still while you're sliding the frames out and stuff. And when a bee dies, it gives off like a banana scent, and when they smell that, they tend to try to attack whatever it is. So there's been moments where I'll have bees like up on my screen trying to fucking shit, yeah, or stinging my gloves or whatever it may be, and you can tell when they're angry. And it's interesting because with bees, typically they're not going to attack you if you don't fuck with them.
Yeah. But what, like they can literally land on you and you just let them be. They won't do anything.
Yeah, but the thing is to be a beekeeper and to be able to take care of their hive and to create more hives in the long run, you have to fuck with them.
So yeah. You literally have to be there with them. You have to make
what a beekeeper does, and this is such a cool concept. This is one of my favorite parts. Most people that have never done anything with beekeeping have no fucking clue how this works. But they have a smoker, and basically you put whatever it is. I use like animal bedding because I like to recycle as well as keep it cheap. So like I had a guinea pig and a ferret, and we'd use whatever dry bedding they had left or any of their bedding just out of their package, instead of going out and buying the wood chips. And you just light it on fire, and it sits in the smoker and makes a bunch of smoke. And you go up to the hive and you put the smoke at the entryway. And when you take off the lid, you put it at the top. And what it does is these bees instantly react as if their home is on fire. And so instead of them focusing on attacking you, who's fucking with the hive, they're focusing on moving out. So they start the process of whatever it takes to.
That's interesting. That's cool.
So essentially, and the thing is they don't ever actually move out because the smoking stops, obviously. But
yeah,
you're getting into the hive to do the other parts, like whether it be collecting honey or anything in between. And so it's. Originally, Rachel was going to be the beekeeper, and I was just going to help. And she went out and she got the hive. We had the box set up and everything, but you have to get the nuc and you have to like drop it into the hive, which pisses them off. And I don't know where her brain was at when I think she just left her brain in the backseat of her car or something. She had her jacket on and the hood, but not pants. She did not
shit.
And she took like over 20 stings in the legs.
Oh.
And now, guess who's allergic to bees?
Oh my
she was
god.
stung so much, and so I had to become the beekeeper.
Oh man, that's crazy. Wait, so if you get stung too much, it can make you allergic?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
can,
the bees have a venom in them,
Yeah.
and if you get too much of it, then it'll.
yeah, she has to
Oh
have
my God.
epinephrine at all times now because it can. And she came home and she's like, "I'm kind of having a hard time breathing." And I was like, "So we need to go to the hospital." She's like, "No, I think I'll be okay." I was like, "No, we need to go to the hospital."
Yeah.
I was like, "Are you serious?"
Like, no, yeah, we need to go to the hospital.
Like, what the fuck?
Like, that shit is like instant, man. She could go from okay to like not okay, like
Yeah,
real
that's
quick.
Asphyxiation is and she did it alone too. Her dad was so mad at me because I wasn't there, and I was like, I didn't even know she was doing it. There was no like, she did not tell me anything. She just went and did it, and I was like, Rachel, I was like, you did not just do this.
Do I want to microchip you?
So her parents extended a requirement because the bees, we kept them at her parents' house in their garden. So they extended a requirement to me that anytime I was tending to them, Mikey or Blake had to come with me. And so they bought them a suit so that whatever it needed to happen, if it was Mikey or Blake, we'd go out and they'd help me do whatever it is we had to do. And so it was a bonding experience for Blake never actually got a chance to come out with us, but me and Mikey did it pretty regularly.
Dude, that's awesome.
And I think that the takeaway from it with bees, this is probably the biggest reason it's important. And I encourage anyone and everyone out there that has an interest in this, in beekeeping, to fucking do it and chase it, because 80% of our food come from bees.
Yeah.
80% of what we eat as humans would not exist if bees go extinct. And bees are endangered. And bees are endangered because of all the pesticides that are being used on our plants and for a lot of other reasons with our environment. And just having one hive, you could be saving more than you even know with our existence. And also, if you ever see bees somewhere in public, especially now that it's hitting summertime, bees do this thing called bearding. So they'll have a hive, but bearding is when they come out of the hive altogether and they bunch up to cool down and to protect the queen. It's perfectly normal to see that. And it's perfectly normal for them to travel and beard in random places. If you see that, do not call an exterminator. Do not try to kill them, especially if it's on your property. Call a beekeeper, and they will literally come out for free and take those bees. Because
that's awesome.
That's profit for the beekeeper, but it's also, most beekeepers take care of bees with the intention to save the bees. That's like a big part of our existence on Earth, being anything. So like that was a really big part of when we started our band, what we were doing was the concept was basically bringing light to endangered animals. And let me see if I can pull up our album artwork.
Oh dude, I still have that poster. I put it in a frame. I just haven't put it up on the wall yet.
So basically, and this is probably one of my favorite things that was said about Blake after he had passed at his viewing, was he was a light in the world and he used his music to give animals a voice that they didn't have. And so essentially what we tried to do was each song was two endangered species mixed together, and we tried to put a sound to what that would sound like. And so in the long run, our entire existence with our music and everything was to bring light to saving animals, whether it was bees or tigers or orangutans or tuna fish, axolotls, red island foxes, panda foxes, and kangaroos, wolves, gorillas. There's so many endangered species, but we handpicked a lot of the ones and just like mashed them together. And so for us, it was like bringing light to this existence. Like, people don't even realize that certain animals are endangered. They don't even have a comprehension of what that entails or what that could affect in our world. Like if we lost bees, most people don't think, oh wow, it's not a big deal, because it's just bees. They don't think wow, bees are actually like fucking vitally important to us surviving. Literally,
Yeah,
like,
for real. Like, yeah, and more aspects than one.
One big thing about bees as well is like, especially with the legalization of weed coming around and everything too. All of these crops that like almond farmers, they pay beekeepers to keep their bees on their farms because almonds can't grow sufficiently without bees transferring the pollen and doing everything. And a lot of scientists have been spending time trying to create like robots that can replicate what bees do, and we cannot replicate it. We literally we cannot take what bees do and do it. It's literally not possible at the moment. The camera just shifted over and now I can't. Hold on. Does anyone have anything in chat that I've been missing?
Oh man, they're talking. They're talking.
I've been trying to keep up as much as I can over here. So I'm like, oh my god, telling all these stories. If I can, oh my god.
Like your Nightbot. Hey, now watch your fucking mouth.
That's why. Somebody came in a Discord. That's why. Who's in Discord? Who is this?
I'm kind.
Oh. Imagine.
Cat saved my life, and one day I was walking down a park at night.
We're just doing a podcast right now. Unkind.
My bad.
I love you.
I'll see you later.
And then like 75. Yeah, there we go. I was like, why did I just lose Josh's face?
Yeah, I was like, what?
That's so
oh, look at me. I'm growing.
Yeah, there we go. Now we got it.
I'm back.
I love this shout out for bees. They're also underrated, and the fact their populations are dwindling is important to talk about. So thank you. Yes, 100%. So the song "What Does the Fox Say" was one song. Yeah, sure, Jesus, sure. Sharks are important and dying off quickly due to fishing as well. Not just fishing, but our pollution.
Oh, really?
Oceans.
Damn.
I think the pollution in our oceans is one of the biggest issues in our world.
Yes,
by far. So it's something that everyone needs to be aware of. And there's so much like pollution. Things that you can approach and leave your imprint on Earth to make it a better place for the generations to come.
I mean,
amen to that.
It has to do with like
do the African bees pollinate at the same rate as native bees to the States? I've heard they are taking over the honeybee. So there's actually like a lot of genetics that go into bees and beekeeping and their ability to withstand certain pests and other insects. That like there's a what was it? They're like hive mites that they'll go in and they'll take the bees' honey, and it ends up causing the bees to die as well.
Oh my gosh!
The bees can't sting them because they're like roly-polies kind of looking.
Oh really yeah.
Tiny. And so causes a lot of issues. And the way that you actually solve it is really funny. There's these downy paper towels that you can tear apart, and they almost look like cotton at that point. But the hive mites just end up walking into it and getting stuck in it.
Oh shit! And then you just pull it out, and it's just got a bunch of them on there.
Yeah, and you just replace it every week or two. It's actually beekeeping is actually an easy task. It's not a lot of work to beekeep, and it's peaceful. It's a very.
I was gonna say it's very therapeutic.
The only thing I hated about it was I'm in Texas and it's hot as fucking balls outside, and then
oh my god,
you put on that bee suit, and the bee suit's like thick material, and so you're just in there sweating. You can't stay out there too long because of how hot it is. But
it's like, are you willing to get stung just to like cool off a little bit?
I think you missed it, but I mentioned adding a birdhouse for bats if they live around you. They and bees do a lot for pollination in the world too. Yeah, so I've never heard of that, but yeah. That's I've never actually looked into what bats do for the environment, but it's crazy to think about because like we don't think about our wildlife and our animals in the way that they affect our world and our existence and our survival.
Dude, speaking of bats, I have a crazy story about a bat. Me and my daughter come home one day and we go upstairs and go into her room and I'm like helping her like get ready and situated to like play. And there's like, I realize that there's something flying around in the room. Like, is that like a fucking bird? Like, how the fuck did a bird get in here? Like, the window wasn't open, nothing. And I like look up and I realize what it is, and it was a fucking bat. And so, I mean, like any like normal human being, when there's a bat in your house, what do you say? Oh my God, it's a fucking bat. And then my daughter, who was like 4 at the time, looks up and she's like, it's a fucking bat, and like bolts out of the room. Like, it was hilarious. Like, oh, anyway, after about like 30 to 45 minutes of trying to like get this thing out, because like I finally was able to get it to land on the curtain, and I like opened the window behind the curtain and just kind of like booped it like on the curtain, and it flew away. But like, dude, like, oh, it was the fucking weirdest like night, funniest thing ever. Like, it was awesome.
It's funny the stigma behind bats being a scary thing too, because they look scary and they relate to Halloween. And people don't realize how much Halloween affects certain animals, like bats and then black cats. There's a lot of black cats out there that actually end up suffering through abuse and shit, because people truly believe that black cats cause bad luck and cause misfortune and shit like that. And if you fucking abuse a cat for being a black cat, you're a piece of shit. I'm sorry. That's all I
literally have owned at least 5 black cats in my life, and they have been some of the most affectionate cats I've ever had.
There's a really great documentary on Netflix about sea life and how fishing has severely damaged it and how it's affecting the environment. I forget what it's called, but it changed my perspective on a lot of things. It's called Seaspiracy. There's also a documentary on Netflix.
Oh, I've been wanting to check that out. It looks good.
There's a documentary on Netflix called Kiss the Ground. It's all about soil and how creating soil naturally is really important, and going through compost and using compost correctly and not using pesticides and shit, and how it affects our earth and how it could change everything for us as well. Really big documentary to watch. And obviously watch documentaries, learn what you want to learn, find what you're passionate about to help the earth and make your fucking imprint. That's a big part that's a really big part of mental health, because the thing is like a lot of us think we're worthless, but if you step up to the plate and show your worth and what you can do for this earth and what you can leave behind for the people that are ahead of us and ahead of our generation, you're gonna feel like you're worth something. You're gonna feel better mentally, and you're gonna have a purpose every day within that retrospect. So those of you that are struggling with mental health and feeling worthless or feeling like you're not good enough or that you're not doing enough, find something. There's so much, whether it has to do with our oceans, with littering, with landfills, with bees, with domestic animals, service animals. There's so much in this world that you could be helping with. So search that out and find it and share it and spread that and help other people achieve what they want to achieve. Care about each other and the things that you care about, and don't be afraid to seek out help if you need help. I think that a lot of that as well plays into the emotional aspect of like if you are struggling with depression, suicidal thoughts, anxiety, PTSD, you may not be a dog person, you may not be a cat person, you may be a lizard person, but find out what kind of fucking person you are, and
make a connection
and obtain that connection to help you through your day-to-day, because you don't know how much that's going to help. I remember one of my in-laws' cats, her name was MJ. She was a fat black cat. She was the sweetest thing, and a pit bull and a German shepherd got into their yard and killed her. And the day it happened, I didn't even know, and I was at the pet store, and I'm just terrible about this kind of shit, but I was looking at the guinea pigs, and we hadn't owned a guinea pig yet, but I owned them when I was little, and I really wanted to surprise Eden, but I was also like, I don't know if I should surprise her because Rachel's gonna get mad because it's another animal.
The struggle's real, bro.
And there was this guinea pig who just looked like a fucking cartoon character. Like, she was the cutest fucking thing ever.
Oh,
And I was like, I'm just gonna fucking get it, and so I bought her, and I came home, and in my head I was like, this is gonna be the conversation. I'm gonna be like, look, if you don't want her, I can return it. No big deal. It's I know that it might be too much, but I really wanted to surprise Eden with this. And I got home, and I walked into our room, and Rachel was like bawling her eyes out, and I had no idea what had happened. And so she told me, she's like, well, MJ got attacked by dogs and she's dead, and it was obviously a very horrifying death, and Rachel's a very sensitive human being to animals, and so it hit her really hard. And I was like, well, fuck. And I just kind of like was like, I got you something, and I pulled out Hinata and let her hold her. And I was like, if you don't want to, she said, shut the fuck up, we're keeping her.
Oh my god.
damn, that worked out great.
It was like exactly what she needed in the moment, with what she was struggling with and losing the cat and everything. And so I think that a lot of people think that they're replacing it. Like if your animal dies and you get another animal, you're not replacing that animal. You're not.
Well, Brianna wants to know what the white cat's name is. I'm literally in the background.
Who?
Wait, what's that?
Josh.
My white cat?
Yeah.
Her name is Emery.
Emery, that's right.
Yeah.
I fucking
Like after the band.
I never remember names. I hate it.
And then I also have another cat. What's the name of those cats? It's just like the normal brown, black,
Calico.
like kind of striped white
Tabby.
or striped. Calico maybe. Yeah.
Calico or Tabby, either one.
Yeah. I also have one of those. Her name is Cecily.
Cecily, so cute.
Yeah, she's sassy.
Bats are my
Sassy
favorite
bitch.
animal. They get such a bad rep, but they're so good for the environment. Flying fox bats are my favorite species. Shiloh, what's up? How's it going?
Shiloh!
Bats. This podcast did a full 360 from mental health to judging me for throwing a gum out of the window. What's up, Jesus? Great message. I'm trying to pay bills and it'd be like that.
In casual talking about the cat death reminded me of my coworker came to work the other day, and she's one of my friends from like forever ago, and she's like, so yesterday I was with my neighbor, and her neighbor came to her, and she just went out to go feed her chickens, and she let the dog out with her, and she's feeding the chickens, and all of a sudden, like, she sees the dog up on the hill flailing around. The dog got caught in a beaver trap.
Oh no.
Yeah. So her first instinct was, I have to go grab the shotgun right now. And she as she's going, she called my friend, and she's like, I don't know what to do. So they called the animal warden in the area, and he luckily had the key to the beaver trap on him, and he's like, okay, but there's nothing you can do at that point. That's why like you have to know
what beaver
like
traps look like or how they work, but that just sounds
oh my god. Well, a beaver's jaw is strong enough to cut down a tree, so obviously if it was like a regular bear trap, it could open that with its jaw itself.
Yeah,
so the beaver trap is literally like double, triple springed on it, so it can actually hold the beaver in place, so it can't ruin what you've built there. I don't even know why we're trapping beavers still, because beavers are endangered species as well. But
yeah, it's fucked up.
I'm not gonna go there. That's a whole other fucked up story that I don't understand why they trap beavers.
We should at least find humane ways to trap these animals instead of just
like,
killing them.
We had humane traps when I lived in Warrensburg too. Like we trapped the woodchucks that would live underneath our fences, that would live underneath our shed and stuff like that. And the possums. Possums are amazing creatures too.
Yeah, they're really good for the environment.
One of the only animals in the world that aren't affected by rabies. People think that's a rabid animal. No, fucking possums can't get rabies. They can. It's physically impossible for them to get rabies.
I think learning to coexist with animals is what needs to happen, and that we haven't been doing that.
Yeah, like it'd be
really
a thing
does.
where just give them their space and we have our space, kind of thing.
100%.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a tuxedo cat named Oreo and a tabby named He's so cute. I've got my 3 cats.
I do want to take a second. I do this every podcast. A big part of my life is music. A big part of Josh's life is music. I'm sure Stu as well. A big part of his life is music. It's a big part of our mental health journey and what we do. So I'm going to put it in my chat. I think Josh has the link as well, but he's not streaming, but he can share that with his community. Stu can put it in his chat too.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I'll make it a little timer thing.
There's a Spotify playlist that we created for ConfideCast that is essentially anyone that has Spotify can use this playlist and add, and it doesn't matter. This can be angry music, sad music, happy music, whatever it may be. If there's a song that has helped you through any portion of your mental health journey, feel free to throw it on that list and be a part of helping others just by doing a simple task like that. And just know that you are helping others when you do that. And I'm sending you the link right now, Stu. So you can...
That's pretty exciting. Maybe I could.
I'm looking for it.
My band is about to release their first full length album, and we've got like 3 or 4 songs that literally are dedicated directly to mental health. I'll have to throw some of those on there.
Yeah, do it.
Jana said, "Can it be One Direction?"
I mean, if it helped you out, right?
So, I love the podcast, and I'm happy people have added so much to it. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think about the way that people can touch your life.
Yes.
Because like when I started this podcast, I had talked to Michael about it, and I hadn't really connected to Michael on a spiritual or mental health level before that. And then me and him had some like deeper conversations, and now I know him so much better. And then I started thinking like, how many other people can I bring into this that I know? And I started looking through my Facebook at my friends and people that I knew, and literally like as soon as I saw Josh, I was like, yeah, that's easy. I was like, that's like a one and done. He's gonna jump into this shit, and he's gonna have so much material and substance. And I'm sure this won't be the first time he's on the podcast either.
Oh, dude, you can invite me whenever you want. I love this. This is fun.
I think that I have so many topics that I want to approach. Animals was a big one. Music's a big one. Anime is a big one. I think.
Anime. I like that.
Art and painting is a big one. I think that, but it's not even just that. It's also like how to cope with tragedies, coping with grief, things that we go through. There's going to be heavier topics and there's going to be lighter topics. I consider this a lighter topic, even though we went really deep into a lot of things. I think that this was a lot easier for me to hold space for than if I were approaching like last week. We had a lot of heavy conversation. I opened up a lot about my inner struggles and things that I've been going through. So this has been easier for me. For me, like it's a lot easier to tell stories about what I've been through than to talk about what I'm going through. So it was a lot harder for
totally.
me. People don't realize they need a space like this until it's presented to them. So I'm really glad you're doing this and that. And so many people are involved, like Stu and Raz. Yeah, I think Team Confide, eventually every member is going to have some portion in this. And it's going to be a very interesting play out to see how what we can bring, because once again, like we've emphasized this on multiple podcasts, we're not professionals.
By any means.
None of us are therapists. None of us have gone to school for this. There is someone that is a friend of mine that literally did go to school. It's like, I'm pretty sure she's getting her master's for shit like this.
Wow, that's awesome.
She helps people who have been through sexual assault. That's like her job. And so she literally like reached out to me and was like, I want to be on this, and I want to.
Oh, that's dope.
So that's going to be a big one that happens in the long run. But when you're watching this, just acknowledge that obviously all 3 of us are streamers, and obviously you guys watch streamers because you're in here. I'm on Twitch and Facebook. Anyone that needs to come in and talk, feel free to come into my chat and reach out. It's okay to talk to me. I will do my best, and if I can't retain the space, I will make it very clear that I can't retain the space while still being able to provide a comfortable atmosphere for you and know that nobody is judging you. Josh, who is Jedi Rebel Solo on Twitch, also streams, and I'm sure 100% if you need a space to be able to talk about something.
Yes, please. I'm a huge mental health advocate, and I always want people to know that they can come into my streams. If you come to a show and want to talk to me, like I even say it on stage, like I'm here for everyone else. So please don't ever hesitate. Like seriously.
And then obviously Stu, who's
Yeah, like, literally, there was one stream I literally I ended up crying the whole entire stream just because we were having an emotional connection. So I need to literally, I I I hate to cry, but I love those moments. Like that's literally like the moments that I live for. So anytime you guys need to talk, the connection that we make, and it's a bond and a friendship that we can make, and it helps you through the struggle that you're having, and it also, believe it or not, it helps us in the struggles that we're having too.
Yes, that's very true. Very true.
Is there any other topics with animals that anyone has that they want to approach? I'm not in any rush to finish this, but I know you work in the morning, so.
Oh yeah, no, it's all good, dude. I took a huge nap, like a 5-hour nap, so I'm fine.
I know that feeling.
I was like, man, I don't know how long this is gonna take, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go to sleep now, and then wake up, and I'll be good to go. I've got I wish I could like take my camera and like show you all the sticky notes that I have. Just like all over my desk and shit. Like I kind of went a little like overboard. We talked about a lot of the things that I wanted to talk about like already.
I think one thing we didn't put a lot of emphasis on is the importance of picking up animals at shelters.
Oh, dude, yes, that is a big deal. Like a lot of like websites and like people like they like when they breed animals, like the conditions aren't very good for the animals and things like that, and so like it's kind of like promoting that, like you're giving them money and giving them the ability to keep doing that
and making it seem like it's okay to do that.
And also with working with animal shelters, it's always a good thing because like these are animals that people just gave up on, and like they need that extra love. And you might not, they can't speak English, even though I'm waiting for the day for my dogs and cats to turn and be like, we understand every fucking word that you're saying, like we know exactly what's going on. I'm waiting for that day. But like they still can comprehend the fact that the people that they had that owned them before gave up on them and dropped them off at this place. And now you're here to take them away and give them a better life. They can comprehend that. And that's like they already like animals and pets and like dogs and cats, they already give you like a really high level of loyalty, but you'll get even a higher level of loyalty taking them out of those like bad spaces and giving them love and affection. Also like just it's astonishing the like saturation that is in like the animal shelter community right now. Like there's just so many, like cats, for instance, there's always like too many kittens and cats, and it's just crazy that like I don't know, it blows my mind that so many people just give up on animals like that, or it just doesn't make sense to me. If I had like 100 acres of land and had the money and funds to be able to do it, I would just fucking take them all.
I would own 500 cats if I could, but we're not going to go there. Because if I had 500 cats, I wouldn't have a face.
Yeah, there's a lot of other things too. Like one big one I know about is a common theme of parents buying their kids bunnies for Easter.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like one of the,
if you're planning on getting a bunny, buy a bunny well away from Easter. Do not support the companies that are putting out these animals for this holiday because it makes money. And most of the time, those animals end up being put in a shelter, being put somewhere else instead of actually being kept and taken care of.
Or being neglected completely and dying in the care of the owner. Like that's also I've seen that happen before, and I'm just like, why would you even get the animal then? Like,
that's another thing, is having a comprehension of the time you're able to spend on the animal. It's good to want an animal, and it's good to have that in your life, especially if it helps you mentally. But my recommendation is do research before you get whatever animal it is, because there's like my ferrets, I did research first before I got my ferret. My guinea pig, I did research first. The breed of dog I had, I did research first. And all of these, this research helps you to understand what you're going to be able to do and what you can't handle. So like if you want a chameleon, for example, there's actually a lot more work that goes into chameleons that people don't understand as far as keeping their habitat humid and their needs. Whereas if you need something that's really simple to take care of, I think for me, the easiest animal we've ever had that we've taken care of was a guinea pig, because you don't really, like, you give them attention when you want to. They don't bite. Even if they're skittish, they'll let you hold them once you get them and you get them used to you. You can feed them fruit and they fucking love it. They're adorable. It's a gist of feeding them correctly, giving them water, and cleaning out the bedding. That's about all. And, you know, you get that physical attention from them too. I think similarly, frogs are good pets that are easier to take care of. Turtles are also pretty easy to take care of.
Oh yeah, I've had 2 turtles. They were awesome.
They just, before you dive in, and it's like, especially if you're thinking about getting like a dog, dogs are a lot of responsibility. Potty training them is a lot of responsibility. The time you have to take them to the park, you have to make sure that you have that kind of time, because some people don't have that kind of time.
And do your fucking research beforehand. Like, if you're gonna get a turtle, know the anatomy. Like, don't pick it up by its shell. Literally, that's the number one thing I've always been taught. Never pick a turtle up by its shell, because it is literally its back, and you're picking up by its back.
That's crazy.
Oh,
and that's something that people don't think about, but you just, from not, being educated, that could cause them pain or discomfort.
Exactly.
And also the same thing with dogs and cat. Like, there's different breeds, they require different, like, aspects of physical activity, to where you live, like food, all those things, the amount of space, like those are all things you got to take into consideration.
Taking care of a German Shepherd is going to be 100% different from taking care of pugs, because pugs obviously have the natural born breathing problems, while German Shepherds have the natural born back hip dysplasia.
Yeah, that's a big part of my blue heeler is the hip dysplasia. Most healers get their tails clipped when they're young, because the tail adds more momentum to the effect on their hips. And
oh wow, really?
They have hip problem. Like, and I didn't cut off my dog's tail because I just, like, it was just a personal decision. I just wasn't going to do that. But I also have a recognition that she's definitely probably going to have hip dysplasia, and I'm probably going to have to help her pee and dedicate my time to being able to help her through all of those moments where she has to deal with her hip pain and everything in between. So it's when you see a dog with a tail clipped, don't just automatically assume someone's abusing that dog.
There's reasons behind it.
I don't really think there's reasons for ear clipping, but
no.
Like, I think ear clipping's fucked up, but
yeah, me too. Like, I just, like, it's all for aesthetic, and I just don't think that's right. I've read some things where, like, apparently, like, they're, like, ear clippings, like, have help. I'm trying to remember what dog that is.
It's the pincher, I think.
I don't
They just get their ears clipped, and so on. I'm trying to think of the other one that has the,
like, the floppy. It's like
pimples.
Has to do with, like, mites. Yeah, like, it's like there's, like, their ears get infected very easily, and apparently that's supposed to help with that. But still, like, I just don't know about.
Rhiannon just said something in my chat like that. If this were to, like, you hear anything like this is, Rhiannon did the right thing cutting this person early, but there's also, like, she said that she knew somebody that used to drown kittens and puppies that couldn't find a home fast enough. And the first thing I thought of, like, that's the sign of a sociopath. Like, if you're gonna drown a kitten or a puppy, like, you need to find help.
Oh yeah, that's one of the 3 signs of a serial killer.
Yeah. Like, if you're gonna drown kittens and puppies, like, bye.
There's 3 signs, and typically if they follow 2 of the signs, you need to get your child help. One is wetting the bed, another is fascination with fire, setting fires to things, and then the other one is abusing or hurting animals intentionally.
Yeah. Intentionally.
Those are, like, the 3 telltale signs that your kid will grow up to be a serial killer. So if anyone has a child or knows someone with a child that is going through those processes, they need therapy before they grow up and do. And, like, don't be afraid to get that therapy. At the end of the day, would you rather get them help and maybe them grow into a life that is actually, like, fulfilling, or for them to become a murderer or a serial killer. That's a really big
Yeah.
thing. So
It's really
I was worried that Annabelle was going to come out as that's my daughter, that she was going to come out as a serial killer, because when Ashley was pregnant, all she did was watch serial killer documentaries and like got all these books on them, and I'm like, oh man,
guilty by association.
Yeah.
kids
God.
absorb things. I think that that was one big thing Rachel was worried about with me, is because I introduced Eden to scary movies early.
Oh,
She was like, I think she was 5 when she watched her first Chucky movie.
oh, nice. Chucky don't count.
I
mean, that's
I don't know,
not
bro.
bad. Wanna play?
It fucked
Was
her
it
up, I'll tell you
Child's
that.
Play or was it
It was
Chucky?
It was Child's Play, and
It's okay, so
yeah,
it was like the
so-
old school.
Yeah,
like,
it was-
Okay, that's a different story.
yeah,
Because Chucky, after Child's Play, Chucky was just kind of a comedy
She loves it,
horror
though.
thing.
she absolutely loves it. It's hilarious. She's definitely my
Oh
child.
man, my first horror movie was the original Evil Dead. That
I like,
was
mine-
I like
fucked
the
up.
Mine was
2000s.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's what I watched first.
Oh man,
I watched Bubba.
Bubba.
Yep. Oh my
But
god.
one thing that I did want to say is spending time with animals. Like we do focus a lot on pets, but like going to a zoo, even like just being around them and like petting zoos, and like going to like a pet store and just holding the animals, that it releases serotonin and dopamine, which help calm and relax you. So like even if you don't own like a pet, there are still ways that you could go and kind of get that fulfillment if you need that.
Well,
Like,
you can
I feel like
also
that would help you.
volunteer at a shelter.
That was going to be the next thing I said. Volunteer at a shelter. Like they need help so much everywhere, every state, most cities. Like they always need extra hands. So it could be beneficial for
That's
them
good.
and for you.
You're good, Gianna. Gianna just literally said the same exact thing.
Hell yeah. Great minds think alike, right?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I think that there's a lot that goes into animals' effect on our mental health. I think that we covered a lot of bases, and not only just that, but like, because as I've been thinking about it throughout the week, knowing this podcast was going to come up, I was just like, this is something that people normally wouldn't talk about. This is also something people wouldn't normally talk about. I think, like, especially the effect with anxiety. People who suffer with anxiety, only other people with anxiety understand what that is.
Yeah, totally.
If you don't have anxiety, do not judge someone with anxiety, because you don't understand what anxiety is. You have no idea how it works. It's a lack of control.
Yeah.
It's a complete loss of control over your own existence, physically and mentally. And the ability for an animal to sense your anxiety and then also come up and calm you through that. Because like a lot of the times when I've had anxiety attacks, I can't breathe. Like I can't control my breathing. And it really that's really important for my physical health, because if you start breathing too rapidly or incorrectly, you can cause a heart attack or anything in between. And
yeah,
I've definitely been in situations where it could have definitely affected my health. But I think that my dog coming up to me and snuggling up next to me, or my cat, or whatever animal I may have at the time, because I even had our ferret would run around the house and sleep in our laundry and everything in between. He was just a little free roamer, and there's times where I'd be streaming and he'd just come up and like sit on my feet. And it was just
that's so freaking cute.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It helps you even when you're happy. Animals help you, and then when you're sad, animals help you. When you're upset and angry, animals help you. Like, you don't, if you struggle with these things and you have an animal nearby, like, try to cling to that and see how that affects you, and notice that ability for their energy to transfer into you.
Honestly, when I have this, anything you're going through, just find an animal. Like the sobriety thing, depression, anxiety, like even PTSD, postpartum depression, anything like that. An animal can help with that. It can, and it will. Like, there are so many things that my cats have gotten me through that I know I wouldn't have been able to make it through without having that affection from the animal itself.
Exactly. And it's awesome that it's crazy because they literally, like I've said already a couple of times before, it's unconditional love and affection. They don't expect anything from you for giving you this love and affection. They don't judge you for being upset, crying, being angry or mad. They just want to be there for you and spend time with you and make you feel better. Like, that's it. And so take advantage of that and like allow it, because that's another thing that a lot of people that suffer from a lot of mental health issues is those mental health issues don't allow you to get that help. Like there's like kind of like a level of like, you got to accept like that this can help me kind of thing. If you don't, then it's not going to help you. So that's another thing. Go try and get yourself in that mindset. Like, all right, they're comforting me. It's because they care and they're trying to make me feel better. Allow it to let you feel better.
So
if that makes sense.
Here's a really big one that just popped up in my head was, so if you are approaching getting an animal after this, you're thinking, wow, I think I should get an animal. I do want to look into getting an animal, but you don't know what animal to get. Go take an Enneagram test. Look into your astrology. If you know your spirit animal, look into that. Find the parts of you and who you are and understand who you are. And then start to look for animals that reflect and relate to that. Because some people, they need comfort from like a dog serves you, not the other way around. 90% of the time, a dog is there to serve you. So like, if that's what brings you comfort, then you're a dog person. You need to get a dog. But if you are the type of person who's like, I need to help you with your problems to make me feel better, then you might be better served with an animal that solely relies on your service as opposed to it coming up and helping you. It's more of you're going up and helping it. And, I think for a lot of people, and that could mean you're still a dog person, but this breed of dog is the type of dog that you should get to match with your personality. Most of the time, people will naturally get a dog that plays off of their personality.
Yeah, like subconsciously. Yeah.
So I think that approaching that and then approaching, there's other things that might get in the way. Like if you're allergic to dogs or you're allergic to cats, there's other animals you can get. Like you can get a naked cat. You can get a poodle who's hypoallergenic. There are animals out there that you can still get that need a home in order to help you overcome what you're going through.
I mean, that's 100% why I got a cat. Like, 100% resting bitch face all the time, but I will love the fuck out of you. Literally me.
That's awesome.
I mean, it seems like I hate you, but I love you.
Oh, man.
Okay, I'm here. My life. Okay.
I think we'll take the next 5-10 minutes to kind of close out. If anyone has anything they want to say before we shut it down. If anyone has any stories about their animals that they want to leave in chat, or if there's some topic that you in chat would like to bring up last minute, you can. But we're going to start the process of shutting it down because we're hitting the 2-hour mark. And we usually go 2.5 hours.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. It hasn't even felt like 2 hours. This has been fun.
Yeah, I just looked at the clock and I went, oh my god, it's 3 a.m.
Yeah. Me and Sue got some Fortnite to play after this.
Oh my god.
Jesus just said, I'm ready for some Fortnite. So, let's see. Ball pythons, leopard geckos are also easy pets, apparently. Red sliders are in rescues or let go because people expect them to stay small forever. If dogs were meant to have their ears clipped, they would be born that way. Just my own personal opinion, though. My mom let me watch Nightmare on Elm Street when I was 4, and it traumatized me. I have not heard about Freddy until this day.
The one with Johnny Depp in it? Oh, man, that's brutal.
I the first horror movie I ever saw, I was like 5 or 6, and I saw a Michael Myers movie. I don't even remember which one. And I had nightmares for like 3 months afterwards.
Oh my god!
And me and my little brother
Imagine.
slept on a bunk bed. And I would never sleep on the top bunk. I always had to have the bottom bunk because in my head, if Michael came in our room, it would be easier for me to get away on the bottom bunk.
That makes sense.
Than the top bunk. So like it was, my fear was very deep.
Damn, that's crazy.
Some people might think it's ridiculous to find comfort from anxiety through an animal, but it's so real. I have panic attacks near daily, at least 4 times a week. I can't tell you how many times my pug has helped me when I was developing a panic attack. Sorry, my dog's not here to serve his family. Thank you very much. Serve us, he has family. Okay. Imagine thinking that.
Imagine.
I just want to give a shout out to my baby Frank. Is that your pug's name?
That's cute. That's a cute name. Ramsey, what is there anything that you do for your panic attacks, or is it a thing where you just ride it and let it happen? That's one thing that I've learned working at a rehab facility, because like panic attacks and things like that are actually pretty common. Is like they there's like this, like they say, like you need to allow it in a sense. Like the more you fight it, the worse it's going to be. So if you let it ride out, if you understand what's happening and just let it be and not hold on to the feeling, because the more you fight it, you also hold on to the feeling. You're holding on to it. You're consciously thinking of it. So the more you allow it to just be, just let it be, like the Beatles will say or whatever, the less intense it'll be, or it'll just stop itself altogether. So like maybe next time you're getting close to like having a panic attack, try and think about that. Just be like, this is fine. I'm okay. This is normal. Sit down, in case like your breathing gets to a point where you might pass out, things like that. Just put yourself in a safe space and allow it to happen. And accept it. And I think that might help you just a little bit. This is all just coming from secondhand information and witnessing people like kind of do those kinds of things. So like, I'm not a therapist or anything or a doctor. So like, this is all just opinion, but like maybe try that next time.
She said, unfortunately, I have to take Xanax. I've been on it for 8 years. Nothing else has worked. I have physical anxiety, though, and some health issues, so I can't necessarily tell myself that everything is okay and I'm not going to die. Yeah. It's not. I understand. It's not a bad thing to have medication. It's also,
not at all.
I think there's other things that are coming out nowadays that weren't there before, like rapid eye movement therapy, stuff like that you might look into. But obviously, we're not experts. I think that a lot of this podcast, it's important to acknowledge that we're just normal human beings going through our day to day.
Discussing.
None of us are perfect. A lot of what I touch on and when I'm talking about mental health is stuff that I absorb that has helped me from the Angry Therapist podcast, actually the smiling depression that I was talking about.
Oh, the yellow
earlier.
one?
That was actually from, I was watching a show called 911 today, and one of the characters was suffering from smiling depression, and they brought it up, and that that's when it hit me. That's why I thought about it today. It's because I was like, because I'd never really heard the coined term smiling depression, but it just made sense. And I feel like most people that are going through depression and stuff, that's like how they cover their depression. And I think that it's important for us to care for our loved ones, regardless of if they seem happy or not, to really, I don't want to say force them, but like encourage them to open up, because everybody's feeling something. Even if you're talking to the happiest person in the world, no human being never has sadness or never has bad emotions. You know what I mean? Like negative emotions.
And I'm going to tell you from experience, no matter what anybody has ever done to you, and they were close to you as a friend, and they stab you in the back, and they're going through like the worst thing, reach out to them. You may resent them, you may hate them. Reach out to them and let them know, like, I'm here. Because
Ramsey, smiling depression is essentially when you're depressed and you may not even know you're depressed, because your instant defense mechanism or instant approach to your depression is to consistently carry a positive attitude throughout any situation. So like you could be going through the death of a family member and you're just going to smile through it and approach everything as positively as you can instead of feeling your own grief. Or you could be going through something, for instance, the thing in the show that I was watching today that they were going through was actually he was going through losing his wife and facing a battle with cancer that he was going through. And he was just basically acting like nothing happened and being as positive as he could about everything. And the reality was he wasn't as happy as he was acting, and he wasn't as happy as the mask he was putting on every day. And it's perfectly normal as a human being to have defense mechanisms. It's just important to recognize what yours are. For me personally, I tend to retreat inside of myself and into my own imagination to deal with my grief or my pain. So if I get upset, something I've had to work on was being able, the people that do want to retain space for me, that do want to be there for me, I need to be better about opening up and sharing some of the things I'm feeling so that they can help me hold it. Whereas my natural instinct or my natural mechanism is to take whatever pain or depression I'm feeling, and instead of reaching out for help or having someone help me or talking to someone openly about it, I retreat inside of myself. And it can go one of two ways. I instantly go to my imagination. And what that means is I'm either thinking up and creating stories inside of my head that are not healthy for me, or I'm putting it into a creative flow by writing music or writing poetry. And so for me, if I do escape into myself, the healthy way to do it is to write and to express my things, because that enables me more to share what I'm feeling with others and to be open and to carry that weight in a different way. But if I don't pick up my guitar or I don't pick up a pen and start writing, then I go instantly to the other pathway, which is the unhealthy one, where I start feeling worthless and I start feeling depressed and upset, and I let that feeling take over me, and then I just sit in it and I don't do anything with it. So that's personally my mechanism. And I didn't really know this until recently, but I've been taking the baby steps towards recognizing myself, recognizing my own battles, and how to better myself and how to view myself in a different light, and also recognizing how I can approach my mental health. I went a few years with suicidal thoughts every single day and kept them to myself. And I can say the past month and maybe 2 weeks or so, it's been 5, 6, maybe 4 weeks that I haven't had suicidal thoughts. So
that's good to hear. That's progress.
That's good.
I think that last week that was a topic that came up was suicide, and that's something that hit me really heavy. That's why it was so heavy for me. So for me, it was important to acknowledge the space that I can retain, and also to be able to approach how I was feeling, because I was coming at it from a different place in my heart because I wasn't having these thoughts anymore. So instead of being numb to my suicidal thoughts and numb to the thought of myself not existing anymore, I actually felt like I mattered, and like it gave me the perspective to look at suicide for what it is, as opposed to this escape that it felt like in my head for so long. So it's been an uphill battle, to say the least, but with the people in my support circle and the steps that I've been taking to reach my own happiness, I've been able to kind of climb out of a hole and start approaching what I feel is my purpose. I'm definitely reaching a point where I'm probably going to start taking courses and start the process of becoming a life coach. And I think that that's going to be one of my biggest purposes in this world, is being able to help other people through their lives. But like I said, we're not professionals. And if you come to me with something and I feel like I can't say anything to help you, or I don't have a technique or a mechanism, or especially if I feel like I don't have the space to carry that, it's important. And this goes for anyone that does have a friend they're trying to help out. Recognize when you don't have the space, recognize when you're not able to help them, and encourage them to find professional help.
Yes, it's okay to say, hey, man, I don't have the answer for you, but you should go, and I encourage you to go and talk to professionals and find help, and offer help. I mean, whether you're driving them there or,
just a shoulder to cry on.
Yeah, but like, yes, no, I completely agree with that. If you feel like you can't answer the question, that's okay. That doesn't mean that you don't care or anything like that. It actually kind of shows that you care more, that you're willing to sit there and admit that you don't have the answer.
Mm-hmm. I also think that we never know what anyone's going through. And if you're at a point where you need help, and you reach out to someone and they're not helping you, it's not because you're not important. It's important to acknowledge that they could be going through something as well. I literally just had a situation yesterday with Stu and his moderators where I reached a point where I felt like I was in a situation that was uncomfortable for multiple reasons. And when I had approached that situation, they sort of played it. They said it was just jokes, right? And in the long run, it's okay to comprehend that it's just jokes, but at the same time, it's important to validate other people's emotions and their feelings in any given situation.
Exactly.
And so for me, I think for everyone, if you approach a situation like that and they don't validate your feelings or they don't validate your emotions, you have two choices. You can make the situation more difficult, stick around, try to battle it out with them, or you can step away, retain your space, and gather the energy that you need to move forward away from a negative situation. And so I think knowing when to step away, knowing when to take a break, and knowing the space that you're able to retain is super important, especially in retaining relationships with people that are important to you. So for me, I stepped away, and it wasn't because I didn't like them or because they'd done something so wrong or anything like that. It was more so that I was acknowledging my mental space and what I could hold, and that I didn't want to overfill that space. And then I also didn't want to destroy any relationship with any of the people that I cared about in that situation. So
totally.
I think that there's moments in life where you really have to realize,
stop and think,
you're not the only human being on earth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because there's this perfect path, right? This journey that everybody's going through, and along that journey, you're gaining wisdom, and you're going to gain all this wisdom. The thing is everybody gains it at a different pace, at a different speed. So John could be 50 years old, and then Joseph could be 26, but on a wisdom level, Joseph could be 50 years old and John could be 26. That's just a fact of life. It's based on experiences you go through. It's important to understand that not everybody's going to carry the wisdom that you carry, and you're not going to carry the wisdom that everybody carries. And it's important to stop and listen to everyone around you and comprehend the things that do matter and then the things that don't.
Dude, I liked that. That was awesome. Thank you.
I just fucking trail off a lot. I just trail off a lot. I overthink. every fucking thing I do, I overthink. So I'm just constantly. That's why meditation is so hard for me, because the idea of just sitting down and not thinking about shit is like.
Yeah, it's like
an impossible task, because my brain's like, okay, so now you're sitting down and meditating, but what about this? And then what about this thing over here? And what about these feelings? And so,
Totally.
It's every time I sleep.
Have a great night, suspicious fish. Thank you for hanging out.
Yes, I think this is a good calling point. Anyone that enjoyed the podcast, definitely feel free to tune in next week. Usually we do it on Sundays, not Fridays, because that's just our day. But this Sunday is Mother's Day. If you have a fucking mom, love your mom on Sunday.
Yes.
For fuck's sakes. Literally, just go love her. If she lives far away, fucking call her and make sure she knows that you love her. That's super important. If you know any other moms, if you have friends that are moms, if you're a father and you're married or not even married to someone, but you have someone that's a mother of your child in your life, make sure that they understand that they're loved and that they're important and they're special. It's a huge part of our existence is comprehending and acknowledging that every human being is special in their own way. I'm staying live. We're just going to be ending the podcast and jumping into Fortnite. So before everyone just disappears on us. But yeah, we'll be going live again next Sunday. I'm not sure what topic I kind of handle this in a week-to-week basis as far as planning goes. And it will be on Facebook, Team Confide and Casual 69er. I will see if I can bring it to Twitch and Facebook, but no guarantees. Last time I haven't been able to figure that out when it comes to posting to both pages. But anyone that does have music that wanted to post to that Spotify playlist, please feel free to do that.
I can't wait to check it out.
It helps a lot. I've listened to the playlist a lot myself, and I think that it helps me to understand a lot of you in the community because I can see who adds what songs, and then it kind of tells me like, hey, this is a struggle they're going through. Hey, this is something that's helped them through this struggle. And if I feel like I'm going through something similar, that's another big part. I will also be taking all of these episodes and posting them to YouTube, raw and uncut, no editing, no nothing. It just needs to feel like a room or an atmosphere where you're just talking to your friends. That's the kind of vibe we're going for. And I think that at some point it will be on Spotify as well, the podcast, whenever we're
that'd be so awesome.
So we're taking all of these episodes and posting them. I'm terrible about, I literally have this is the 5th episode and I haven't posted anything on YouTube yet. And I'm sorry. I will get on it as soon as I can. I've been in a state of indulging in my life lately and really feeling the happiness that I've been feeling because that's what I deserve to feel right now.
Hell yeah, dude. Everybody deserves happiness for sure. For sure.
That we're going to call that right there. This is the podcast. This has been Josh from Familiar with Failure, also Jedi Rebel Solo on Twitch. And this is Stu, who is Ghost Ass Gaming over on Facebook. If you guys could kindly go follow his band and his Twitch, it would mean the world to me. He's
me too.
he's touched my life in more ways than I can count, and I barely have spent time with him on a real level. But he'll probably come down here and stream with me sometime.
Hell yeah, I'm down. I'm totally down. And I want to thank you for having me. This has been an honor and a pleasure. And I would definitely love to be on here again. Just, let me know and I'll get my sticky notes ready and be ready to talk, dude. For sure, this has been great. And it's helped me in a way, just talking about mental health and things because, everybody's going through something. And I really appreciate it. I appreciate everybody in chat, all the new friends. And man, thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Last topic for everyone to comprehend that anyone that is in here right now, you are loved. We love you.
Yes.
Seriously. I have nothing but love in my heart for every single one of you. The fact that any of you even take the time to be vulnerable, even if you're not talking in chat, just being here and listening to what we're talking about is an act of being vulnerable and showing love towards us. And I appreciate that to the end of the earth and back. And just know that you're not alone. You're not worthless. And
exactly.
The time that you put into us and the time that you put everywhere is meant for a greater good that you may not comprehend. Go out. This is my challenge. I like to give everyone a challenge.
All right, let's hear it.
I love to give everyone a challenge every podcast. And whether you go do it or not is on you. But I actually have 2 challenges. 1, meditate and find your spirit animal. 2, go out and find some way to help the earth. Doesn't matter how. Go out
Hell
and
yeah.
find some sort of purpose that, even if it's just for one day, like it doesn't have to be something that you pick up as a hobby. It doesn't have to be something that you do every week or every month, but go out, make one day, even if it's just going out and picking up trash somewhere, going to an apiary and learning about bees, anything, putting up a birdhouse for bats, like they were saying, putting up bird feed for birds. Go out and do something for Earth before next week. Just find something. I don't care what it. Plant a
Hell
tree.
yeah.
Literally, go buy a tree and plant a tree. Do
In a random
something.
spot. Don't even
Exactly.
ask.
Just do something and feel that sense of purpose and that fulfillment, because it's good for your brain and it's good for your heart and it's good for our Earth.
It benefits everybody.
So yeah, we love you guys, and
Yes.
we will see you next week.
Thank you guys so much.
Yes.
I guess I'm out. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, unless you're playing Fortnite.
See you later.
Love you, Josh.
No, I'm not playing Fortnite. I gotta go to bed, bro. But all right, well,